Thank you, Positivity Project, for this wonderful platform to speak to you once again. And this time, I would like to talk a little bit about how to introduce children to meditation. I think, we normally talk about how to meditate ourselves, but when it comes to talking about children doing the same, would seem like a challenging idea, and I think it is to some extent. I only had some experience of seeing children doing what seems like a meditation way back in 2014 or 15, around that time. Somewhere in England, there is this school where the curriculum is very much inspired by, I think to some extent, meditation, and meditation such as shamatha meditation and vipassana meditation that Buddhism speaks a lot about, especially shamatha meditation, where you are told to concentrate on one particular object, to calm the mind and whatnot. So children do what I believe they call self-time or something like that, instead of say meditation, because meditation would be a very religious word. So I think instead of calling it a meditation, they call something like self-time. Anyway, the point here is more and more we come to realize that it is very important to have this kind of ability in children where they develop something like a mechanism to control their minds and control their emotions, and have some kind of mastery over their minds, because our emotions are unpredictable. We never know what comes along, so it is extremely important to have some level and some degree of control over it. And to learn the skill, it is extremely important to do it when we are young, when our minds are fresh, when it is not only innocent, but it is also uncontaminated. So it is pure, and that pristine condition of mind has the ability to really learn the skill of controlling the mind. Although it sounds like a challenging idea to teach children how to meditate or introduce them form of meditation, so that they would end up liking it and doing it on a regular basis willingly. But I believe it is possible. Although you have to have some kind of regime of some sort, that children have structure to follow, and then gradually hoping that things would pick up and seep into the minds of the child and become somewhat like a habit later on. So anyway, talking about meditation, particularly introducing meditation to children, I think first we have to understand a little bit of child's mentality. And I am not expert, so I don't really understand much myself, but we have the experience of growing up as a child, to become an adult. So on the basis of that experience, I believe to some extent we all look around towards adults, so that we have a point of reference, because all we learn as a child is through imitation. So whenever we are able to, even when we play, as a child, we our toys and the way how we play with each other are nothing less than imitation. So because we look around, and adults in our life who we grew up with has huge influence over our lives as a child, I think parents also need to realize this fact about child psychology, and understanding that I think it is important to bring children in some sort of like a environment where you do meditation yourself from time to time, and also allowing children to participate in what you do. Maybe you have to make it more simple, more fun, so that children would immediately, get attracted to what you do. And gradually you can also make something like a something like a schedule, so that they can have some structure to go by. So what parents can do is bring children together to meditate, let's say for 5 minutes, and telling them to focus on their breathing, or having a self time, or whatever you call it. I think making it fun and easy for children is extremely important, and understanding how their minds can influenced by anything you do. I think everything you do becomes somewhat introduction to them to different things. Meditation is no different. If you constantly think about it, you will definitely find a different varieties of ways to influence the children, to get them interested in meditation. But even if that is not the case, I think making children sit through certain portion of meditation just as a family thing you do together might also help children develop some kind of habit. Because as we know, we have to have some control over our mind, our emotion when we are adults. And I think as a child, because you entirely depend on your parents to guide you, and your teachers to guide you, I think it is important, be it that your parent or teacher, and particularly parent, that you kind of influence them in the right way. And that is why I think each children, because they have different mental disposition, some of them might develop certain habit if you tell them what to do and what needs to be done. Maybe others not so much. You have to kind of create a habit in them rather than telling them what is important. So I think in order to cover them all, you have to also talk to your children about maybe the importance of meditation, and you also make them sit through doing little portions of meditation. If they are really bored, there is no point in doing that, because they might actually lose the very enthusiasm you need to create in them. And once you lose your enthusiasm, then it becomes dutiful. And when it becomes a duty, then you develop certain kind of boredom. And when you develop boredom, you might not want to do it willingly or wholeheartedly, even if you do it. So that is gonna be harmful instead of beneficial. So that's why we have to keep it very simple, very easy, and a lot of fun, so that children would come to like it. So I am sure it's a bit of a challenge to do that, but when you try to figure out every possible thing to do it, there is a point when you click. So you have to look for that moment, and unfortunately, until that happens, you have to figure out varieties of things. But knowing what you need to do rather than what you want to do would actually be very helpful. So I think one thing you need to really try to create within children is curiosity and enthusiasm. Two things, actually. What you are not trying to do at all is try not to lose that enthusiasm that they seem to have developed, or you try to create first and then you try to make sure that survive within children. So that is why making it in a small duration of time within a day is extremely important. But once you do that little bit of meditation, that also becomes a habit. I think the other thing that we need to do is, I think it's extremely important to have confidence developed within children. And I think when we talk about confidence, we are not talking about egotistical, for sure, which is why the very confidence that we talk about also has the element of humility in it. In fact, what makes us fearless is the fact that we are able to, stay very close to the earth. So that is why I think a sense of humility is important to have a fully developed confidence. And to have a sense of humility, I think it is extremely important to have as little self-entitlement as possible. I think hyper individualistic societies have created this very narrative of having to fight for our own rights. I'm not saying that we don't have a right and we shouldn't fight for our rights. We definitely have to, but you have to make sure that that is not hyped up by hyper individualistic sentiment. And to do that, I think having less of a self-entitlement is extremely important. The sense of appreciation of life, what you have. For instance, I call it, Dharti Mata practice, where what I would tell people to do is collect some good soil, soft, moist, and if possible, soil that can grow different, varieties of plants and flowers and whatnot. And you bring them and you kind of go through the process of sensitizing some part of your emotion, recognizing that this is the soil that actually gives us so much. And that's why I think in Indian culture there is a concept of the earth being the mother. So that's where the Dharti Mata term comes from. So that is why there is a reason why we can have that sentiment towards the earth, although it doesn't seem to have any kind of consciousness in the soil itself. Although the soil is soil, if you don't sensitize yourself, it's just a heap of something, but I think there is definitely a reason why we can appreciate the earth. So bring that earth to your home, and after you have made a proper connection, that representative soil can be then put into another pot, so that you can plant something you like, be it a flower, be it some sort of tree, be it like a plant. You can plant within it with so much love and care. And while you do things meticulously, after you are fully sensitized, developing that kind of emotion, going for that soil that is representative of the bigger earth that we inhabit. So after that, once you go through things meticulously, in terms of planting either tree or flower, watering them and whatnot, do it very mindfully. That would also teach you a little bit of meditation. So I think that can be part of the preliminary part of the meditation. And then during the actual meditation, you try to make something work so that children can have some instruction about how to focus on their breathing, and if the child is extremely active, you cannot make them sit and do nothing, just watch their breathing. I think that would be slightly impossible. You can teach them how to dance so meticulously that they have to focus on each and every move they make. And some very fine dancing requires a very good amount of concentration. So I think you can make children, do that kind of stuff if they are very active. And, if they are good at singing or painting or something, you can also make them do it meticulously with full concentration, which would also make them, help them concentrate. And concentration is the essential part of meditation, by the way. So I think by meditation, we don't have to always think about sitting down and, not doing anything. It can associate with other stuff like painting, dancing, like we spoke about earlier. So I think these are some of the things that can be done to improve child's concentration, and gradually hoping that children can have some kind of calmness developed within them through the concentration, and through that, you know, they develop some kind of skill to control their emotions and control their mind generally. So I hope that covers almost everything that I wanted to say this time, and I hope all of you will have a very successful application of actually you know, introducing your children to meditation. The younger the better it is, and I think you will definitely find your own ways and your own style, keeping in mind the importance of you know, knowing the type of psychology your child has. With that, thank you all of you again, whoever is watching this and whoever is listening to this, and I hope and pray that you find some meaningful ways to introduce your children to meditation. Thank you so much.